Do northern New Yorkers and southern New Yorkers hate each other? Does New York have more skiing than almost every other state? And do people really pee on the subways? We're going to answer those questions and more. So let's catch a cab driven by a creepy guy who smells like curry as we get ready to unbox the state of New York. All right, enough of that. The state of New York is a very complex place and can't be summarized completely in just one video, but we'll give it the whole big picture overview version so you can get an idea of exactly what this state's all about. It's larger than you think and has awesome beaches, big cities, trashy rednecky towns, and beautiful mountains and lakes. And it's very diverse. In fact, it's the 6th most diverse state when you consider the number of races and cultures that make New York State home. New Yorkers like to think they're the big fish in America. Since the internet started, there have been lots of memes made to poke fun at just how self-centered New Yorkers truly are. To completely understand New York, you need to understand the various regions of the state. As we do in all of our videos, we'll break the state up into easy to understand and overly simplistic regions. For New York, you could easily break the state up into 3 main areas: New York City itself, the New York metro area, and the rest of the state, called Upstate. As we'll see later, the exact boundaries of upstate New York are debatable. A lot of people think New York City is this, but in reality, it's this. New York City's broken up into 5 boroughs: Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, Staten Island, and Brooklyn. To get a complete understanding of how many people are crammed into New York City, we can take a look at a population density map. New York City has more than 8.5 million people packed into a little area. To put that into perspective, there's more people in New York City than in the entire state of Virginia. And there's only 10 states in America with more people than New York City alone. As such, as you can imagine, New York City has several major issues. The 3 biggest issues are poverty, transportation, and cost of living. New York City budgets more than $4 billion a year on welfare programs to provide food, clothing, housing, medical care, and other benefits for about 1.5 million people. However, unskilled immigrants continue to move into the city, while the demand for unskilled labor continues to decline. As such, the problem of poverty is difficult to solve. However, on the bright side, New York's crime rate is actually lower than many major U.S. cities, especially the car theft rates. In fact, New York claims to be the safest big city in America. But why? Mainly more cops and more patrols. The NYPD has more than 50,000 employees. That means the NYPD has more employees than Cheyenne, Wyoming has people. So while in the 80s New York City looked like this, now it looks like this. Navigating through New York City by any form of public transportation is less than pleasant. Living in New York means you'll most likely be taking the subway to get to work. The subway is notorious for being crowded and unreliable, clogged with nearly 1.7 billion people riding the subway annually. And the streets aren't much better. NYC was ranked as the 3rd most congested city in the world. You thought cabs were bad. Imagine all the Ubers. I'm back in the New York groove. I'm back in the New York groove. And it's probably not a surprise that it costs a lot to live here. If you move here to pursue a career, you'll likely be working more than 50 hours a week. If you want to live near downtown, it'll cost you about $3,000 a month for this. Unless you want to live in the Bronx, but just yuck.
Did you know Manhattan and Brooklyn are both in the top 5 for most expensive cities to live in the country?
That makes a lot of sense, Mappy. In fact, I did some research too, and saw that a fancy family-size apartment on the Upper East Side is about $250,000 a year just to rent.
Yeah, I could never afford that on my salary.
I'm sorry, buddy. Well, maybe you can start your own YouTube channel then? Maybe take some initiative? I don't know, perhaps strike out on your own? Anyways, want to make a phone call?
Can my daughter make a call?
I did not know you had a daughter, Mappy. Sure. Hey there, Mappy's kid. Okay then. You ready?
New York apartment rentals. Are you looking for an apartment? And can you really afford it? Don't waste my time.
Hi, can me and my sister move in? All we have is $32 and some Barbie dolls.
Hey, nice one, little Mappy Jr. kid.
Can my other kid make a phone call?
God dang, Mappy, how many kids do you have? Hey, Mappy's other kid?
New York apartment rentals. Are you looking for an apartment? Can you really afford it? Don't waste my time.
Hi. Last time I rented an apartment from you, it had roaches and snails and butterflies in it.
What? Which building was that in?
Nice one, Mappy's other kid. Mappy, your kids need to come on the show more often.
Thanks, Nick. They're great kids.
Okay, that was pretty cool. I did not know Mappy has like an entire family. Well, we're just about done talking about New York City. If you live here, you put up with a lot. You're not a true New Yorker until you've killed a cockroach with your bare hands, or gone on a 3 a.m. bodega beer run, or been mugged. New York streets are crowded, and you see weird shit. It takes a lot to shock a true New Yorker these days. If you move here, you'll soon walk faster, talk faster, and think faster. No! Sleep! Till Brooklyn! Outside of New York City proper are two primary regions of interest. These are Long Island and the lower Hudson Valley. Most of New York City and the western end of Long Island are very liberal, unfortunately, which is part of the reason the city has so many issues. But in eastern Long Island, it's Ronald Reagan territory. It's mostly rich white people who have solid values. Long Island is home to several beach communities. Atlantic Beach, Long Beach, and Jones Beach Island are generally more family-friendly. Then you have the long barrier island called Fire Island. And as you head east, the beach communities get more and more wealthy. Everyone's heard of the Hamptons. Here, people are health nuts and the kids get like $5,000 a month allowances. They're a little out of touch. Except the people in Montauk. They're actually pretty chill. There are celebrities in the Hamptons sometimes. In fact, much of Suffolk County has a lot of money.
I would love to live in the biggest house in the Hamptons and have pearls and diamonds and shoes.
Hey, Miss Mappy, I bet you would. But you have a big family. Can you afford all that?
No, Mappy says we're poor.
Oh, well, maybe he is underpaid, Miss Mappy. Oh, geez. Western Long Island, particularly Nassau County, is pretty diverse. There are some really poor people, some really rich people, and a ton of racial diversity, especially the closer you get to downtown. On the northern end of the New York metro area is the lower Hudson Valley. Here in Westchester County are places like White Plains and Yonkers, with more rich white people who are too classy for the city. Westchester County is superior to Nassau County in many ways. And the rest of the lower Hudson Valley travels along the Hudson River as you go all the way up to the state's capital, Albany, which is boring and poor. Line 'em up, line 'em up, line 'em up, line 'em up, knock 'em back, knock 'em back, knock 'em back, knock 'em back, fill 'em up, fill 'em up, fill 'em up, fill 'em up, 'cause if she ain't never coming back. Now, once you're sort of past Albany and even further away from the New York metro area, you can now say you're in Upstate. Many people in Upstate wish they were their very own state. They completely don't identify with the folks in New York City. Now, there's an argument about whether Upstate is this or this. City slickers might think anything past Poughkeepsie is Upstate. Others say it's Ithaca North. 2/3 of New York's population lives in the general New York metro area, meaning the other third of the state is spread out all over this big area of Upstate. Politically, Upstate is pretty much what you think it would be. The urban areas are more liberal, and the more rural it gets, the redder it gets. Many large swaths of Upstate are filled with smelly farmers, rednecks, tractors, winos, Mennonites, a bunch of Wegmans, roadkill, potholes, and people with addiction challenges. While the New York metro area is all crowded Starbucks about life, out here, it's all Dunkin' Donuts and open roads. This is the Rust Belt region of the state. Cities like Rochester, Buffalo, and Syracuse are decent places, but troubled economically. Niagara Falls is pretty beat up and run down too. The towns up here are all small, boring, and cold. And even though it's rural up here, in many areas, you still can't smoke in public. It snows a lot up here. Here's a snippet from a video we did on just how much snowfall this part of the state gets. City in New York State gets the most snowfall? That would be Oswego, hands down. This city right along Lake Ontario gets over 125 inches of snow each year. That's 12 feet, folks. In fact, you just might say that the 315 between Watertown, Syracuse, and Rochester is pretty much the blizzard triangle for the entire state. There's some big wineries in the central part of the state. That's cool. A lot of people in the Buffalo area hate their lives and take their frustrations out on chicken wings of various flavors. Upstate has beautiful mountain ranges, such as the Catskills and Adirondacks, and as such, great skiing and hiking. In fact, upstate New York has hosted 2 Winter Olympics. There's also many beautiful lakes in upstate, such as the Finger Lakes and Lake Champlain, on which you can take a ferry over to Burlington, Vermont. We'll all float on, alright, already. We'll all float on, okay, already. And while the New York metro area is obsessed with the Yankees, out here, folks cheer for Syracuse and the Bills mostly. We could go on and on about the sports scene in New York. In fact, we could have talked about a lot more in general. We didn't even talk about the pizza, the sewer rats, or the museums, history, and culture in New York. But we have to go. There's a weird guy coming towards us on the subway right now. So we're gonna shut the laptop and take the next exit. Oh God, he's following us. The end? Hey guys, if you learned something new or you just like this video, make sure to like it. And if you really like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get all of our videos about what it's like to live in different places in America. Peace.